This is the fastest way to build a six-pack, and in this video, I'm here to make it actionable. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what to do to prioritize the activities that are really going to move the needle for you and let go of all of the irrelevant bullshit that you're constantly hearing about that's not actually going to move things forward for you. The bottom line is that there are a select few things that you really need to worry about if you want to see progress, and the rest might be beneficial once you set the groundwork, but for now, we really want to prioritize the things that are going to get you from zero to hero. I have had incredible results for the last 14 years, and I've done it simply by prioritizing the most important activities. This video is going to be a no bullshit step-by-step guide to get you up to speed and get you that six-pack in the next couple months. And so potentially this could be the last video that you ever need to watch. I know a lot of people go on this information cycle of just absorbing tons and tons of information, but you're never really truly present, right? If you're actually being honest, if you don't have the results yet and you've been on this information loop, the reality is you probably haven't applied the information verbatim. And so if you do that with this video, you will start to see that six-pack pop out just in the next couple of weeks. So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to share with you the two most important strategies that you need to make sure that you have in place to get that six-pack. And then towards the end of the video, I'm going to answer a couple of frequently asked questions that are going to help you make sure that you have that laser-focused confidence that you need to start going out there, taking action, and getting results. So the first and most important factor when it comes to building six-pack abs is getting yourself into a calorie deficit. Now, I know everybody talks about the calorie deficit, but that's because it is sound science. It is the gospel of shredding fat. Damn near everybody has a six-pack. It's just covered by a layer of flub. And so what you really need to start by is figuring out how can you shred that layer of fat. This is why you hear that trope all the time that abs are built in the kitchen, because it's true. Walking, right? Just standing up and sitting down. Basic daily activities, especially if you've had some kind of physical activity in your life already. You already have abs, right? Your abs are stabilizing muscles. They are the muscle group that keeps your body rigid. And so the fact is that you probably already have them. And if you just shredded that layer of fat, you would be able to see something there. What you're going to want to do is figure out what a good daily caloric range is for you. My recommendation would be to go to myfitnesspal.com as well as chronometer.com, enter your information, and those tools will spit you out a daily caloric guideline as well as guidelines for how much protein, fat, and carbohydrates you should be eating on a daily basis. Simply go on each respective tool, enter your personal information, enter the information about your goal, and then it will auto-generate that guideline for you. Now, you're going to notice that with both tools, the outcomes are going to be a little bit different each time. In my opinion, this is really beneficial because it's giving you a sort of range. As you get deeper into this journey, you're going to realize that a lot of the sound laws, a lot of this gospel that you hear all the time is not going to be super concrete, right? It's going to be a little bit different person to person. And so because these numbers are different, I hope that it gives you some reassurance that you don't always have to be exact. Assuming that you stay within that range, so if MyFitnessPal tells you that you need 1,800 calories a day, and then Chronometer tells you that you need 1,700 calories a day, assuming that you're consistently staying within that caloric window, you're going to be fine. So pretty straightforward, right? You go out and get this information and then you start to follow. Well, here's the big challenge, right? Here's where most people fail. Every single human in the world has a vice. For some people, it's smoking. For some people, it's drinking alcohol. But for 90% of people, it's food. In fact, most people, whether it's to a extreme degree, right, a serious abuse problem, or just a small kind of fallback to this as a, an emotional outlet, food is that thing, right? Food is that vice. And so most people don't just have an objective relationship with food. If I say, hey, go out and eat 1,800 calories a day, right? Cut your calories back by 800 calories every single day. Yes, the physical act of counting calories and, eating less is going to be challenging, physically, but primarily it's going to be a challenge mentally. You're going to have to recondition yourself not just to use food as the boredom outlet, as the depression outlet. Most of us have a deeply emotional relationship with food. And so when we start to shift that, when we start to want to change our diet, it's our mind that gets in the way. So as you start looking at the food that you're eating, right, reading those labels, looking at the calorie makeup, you're going to get feedback. Your brain is going to start to feel some type of way. As you track these things on a regular basis, you might find that it's triggering to look at that information. But this is where the gold is at, right? If you ever heard of the concept of shadow work, this is what that is. If you have 100% control over your mind, right, 100% over your reactions and your emotional relationship to the activities that you go out and do, you are not going to feel those limitations anymore, right? Eventually, as you do those soothing exercises, as you start to lean into those feelings and ask yourself the hard questions of why do I feel this way and can I really temper that emotional reaction, you are going to find that it's easier and easier to choose the healthy foods, right? It's easier and easier to count those calories, look at the numeric outcomes of all of this information for yourself, and really just see it as a math problem and nothing else, right? All but guaranteeing that long term, if you stick to this caloric window, right, if you try to stay within that range, you are going to burn the fat and you are going to see the results and you're six pack that you want. And so these are the steps, right? Go out, find that caloric range, start to count your calories on a daily basis, start to have these soothing conversations with yourself, right? Tempering that emotional response, and then finding yourself in a place where every single day you can comfortably count your calories, stay within that window, eat the foods that are healthy and in alignment with this outcome that you want. And like I said, if you stay the course, if you just stay on track and continue with this habit, I am leaving this guarantee with you right now that this is exactly what you have to do to make sure that you get this outcome for yourself. Now, the second big factor that you want to consider is compound exercises versus simple one movement ab exercises. One of the biggest failures that I see with beginners when they first get into this six-pack journey is they're following these kind of run-of-the-mill cookie cutter abs programs. Now, it's a great place to start. And I think if a person is starting with any kind of program, they should pat themselves on the back, because taking that first step is always the hardest part. Most people are just stuck in analysis paralysis, right? There's so many different options. They're trying to get themselves to believe, can I really do this for myself? And so they're stuck in this loop of like 80% learning, 20% action. Look, if you can get yourself into that action phase, the faster you can do that, the more effective you're going to be, and the faster you're going to start to see results for yourself. But that doesn't mean that all actions are created equal. It's great to go out and take action, but I'm here to help you optimize that action as much as possible. When I first started on my six-pack journey, I found a program called Six Pack Factory by a guy by the name of Peter Carvel. 90% of that program was just doing these ab circuits. So it's like 6 inches, sit-ups, crunches, and doing like, 5 minutes of each, 5 minutes of each, 5 minutes of each. The thing is that 6 inches, crunches, sit-ups, all of these work your abs, but they are primarily just sticking with the abs. Maybe they're just working the lower abs, maybe they're just working the upper abs or the obliques, but I want you to contrast a movement like that with a movement like the deadlift or the squat. These movements are demanding your whole body, and they're using your abs for what they're supposed to be, right? A hinge or a stability mechanism. As you go down into the squat, your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads, these muscles are doing the majority of the work, right? Your shoulders, your upper back, these muscles are bearing the weight, and then your abs are keeping everything together, right? They're keeping you rigid, they're keeping you stable. Remember going back to that concept of abs are made in the kitchen? Well, it's because of the calories in, calories out concept. Ideally, you're burning more calories during the day with your basal metabolic rate, just the amount of energy that it takes to think and breathe and digest your food, combined with the energy that you're using during fitness. And when it comes to that fitness, the best case scenario is that we're burning as many calories as possible. And we're going to do that by using compound movements, or movements that demand your entire body. Just like the squat is using all of your muscles, and specifically really big muscles like the ones in your legs, those exercises are going to burn significantly more calories when you do them versus something like a sit-up or a crunch. Imagine you're spending 25 to 30 minutes a day right now doing these ab circuit workouts. What if that same 25 to 30 minutes could be used significantly more effectively and actually hurt less? I personally think that calisthenics and weightlifting workouts that are not specific just to abs, they're more fun, right? They hurt less, you get to do more. They're just more engaging and less miserable already. And they burn more calories. They're going to require more energy for their output. And another huge benefit, right? We are building more muscle. And as we build more muscle, that muscle to be maintained demands more energy. Just to exist on your body, more calories need to be burned just to maintain that muscle. And all of this benefit simply by switching the exercises that we do. Ideally, if you can get up in the gym and do big compound lifts like the back squat or the bench press, that's really the best case scenario. But calisthenics workouts like push-ups, body squats, lunges, those kinds of things, those are going to be super effective as well. So pick a plan that feels most in alignment with you and stay consistent, right? The secret with all of this stuff is consistency. Don't go try this stuff for a couple of weeks, look at your body, see no changes, and be like, oh, it doesn't work. Another big secret is long-term vision, right? The person that can commit to the vision of a lifetime is going to be far more effective than the person that is only committing to the vision of a month from now, maybe 2 months from now. I once had a person come to me and say, hey, I need to lose 60 pounds in the next 3 months. How can I do this? And this is a person that had been in my comment section, has been on my feed, and I know they're not taking action. They're not doing anything to shift their habits. Now all of a sudden you want to go from zero to complete life transformation, and you have a very specific timeline that it has to happen in. My response to those kinds of people is give up. You don't have the mindset, you don't have the vision, and if you're not ready to take these actions for the rest of your life, the likelihood is that you're probably not going to see results. But if you are ready to do this grinding work for the rest of your life, and you make that commitment mentally to yourself, you're going to see results significantly faster and significantly more effectively. So this could be a third action step, right? Action step number 1, go out, find your caloric range, set yourself the habit of starting to track what you eat every single day and soothe that emotional reaction that you have to what you're eating. Step number 2, build a workout plan that is made up of compound exercises that use your entire body. Step number 3, sit down and write out your goal. Write out who you want to become. Write out why you want to become this person, and try to get as specific as possible and reread that goal every single day to stay in that motivational alignment. All right, so my camera shut off. Here's some frequently asked questions. The first most frequently asked question that I hear in regards to abs comes from people that call themselves skinny fat. It's usually along the lines of, hey, I feel like I don't have any muscle, but I still have this chub on my body. Should I bulk or should I cut first? I would say that if you feel like you don't have any progress in any area, don't worry about bulking versus cutting. Just do whatever you need to do to stay consistent. Cutting calories is still going to be probably the most important factor because you're going to want to start to shred some of that fat off and start seeing some of the muscle underneath. Now, again, it's not going to be much, but you're going to be putting muscle on at the same time. Yes, even in a caloric deficit, you still can be building muscle. If you're putting your muscles through rigorous exercise and you're giving them time to recover, they are going to grow even if you are in a caloric deficit. And so what I would say is stick to the information in this video. Still try to get into a caloric deficit, but really make sure that you're prioritizing eating the healthiest foods possible. This is going to help you avoid all of the unnecessary processed salt and fat. And yes, technically you would be putting on more muscle if you were to go into a caloric surplus and like really prioritizing protein and all this stuff, which sort of leads into the second most frequently asked question, which is how should I split up my diet as far as protein, fat, and carbs? I would say that at this stage for you, it doesn't really matter. And even for those of you that feel like you're in a more intermediate phase and you're looking for those edges, yes, prioritizing protein and that breakdown of protein, fat, and carbohydrates could be beneficial to you. It matters very minimally. There's a lot of people that will swear by prioritizing protein, and I'm not saying that it doesn't work at all, but if you're being super consistent with these other steps already, that might move the needle for you incrementally. If you're not being consistent with your workouts, if you're not consistently staying in a caloric deficit, just prioritizing protein is not going to make a difference for a long period of time. That's like a really long game approach. I don't want you to be thinking short term, but I am trying to give you the most straightforward, most actionable steps that are going to make things happen quickly and most effectively for you right now. So I would say that if you're trying to figure out the carb, fat, protein breakdown, and especially if you're like a skinny fat person and you're like, what's going to really move the needle for me right now, just focus on consistency with your workouts and consistency with your caloric deficit and just eating healthy in general. Make the commitment to yourself. This is the key beyond anything else, right? Really making that commitment to be consistent for the long term. Because again, people that have a short-term vision are only going to get short-term results if they get any results at all. Why? Because they're insecure with who they are. This is an identity shift, right? Becoming a person that is jacked, getting a six-pack, becoming like truly self-confident. This is an identity-based shift, and you have to expect that every single part of your being is going to shift within this process. Every single person needs to have a Rocky montage if they want to transform, and that Rocky montage is probably going to be pretty painful. Ask yourself, do you even want to go through the Rocky montage, or are you looking for the secret that's going to allow you to snap your fingers and transform your body? Even if you have tens of thousands of dollars for liposuction is a pretty lame transformation. It's just sucking the fat out of one part of your body. You're still going to have fat on your shoulders. You're still going to have fat on your love handles. You have to understand that if you really want to go superhero mode, you got to do some superhero shit. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go David Goggins level all the time and be doing multiple workouts a day. But what I am saying is that if you are consistently following a process where you are being mindful of your diet, being mindful of how you work out, and then you're reflecting on these things on a regular basis to get feedback for yourself, you will be achieving that 1% improvement every single day, which is like something like 35x better by the end of the year. So my friends, simple as that. Follow these steps, stay consistent, don't overwhelm yourself with mountains of other information because it really just comes down to taking daily action. And so what I would ask yourself now at the end of this video is, what is one single action that once this video is over, you can go out and take to start making progress? I'll give you a free one. I have a free 6-week six-pack challenge that you can join. Get online with the diet and the fitness plans that you need. We help you lock in that mindset that's going to guarantee that you're taking daily inspired action. We give you the accountability community and the coaching that you need to reach those results. And so if you know that you're ready for your six-pack, if you know that you're ready for this identity transformation that is going to rocket launch your confidence and your life as a whole, there's a link below this video to an application page where you can sign up for this program. This is a superpowered process, and so spots do go pretty fast for this. But like I said, if you're interested, fill out that application. The application in and of itself is a mindset activity. And so before we even reach out to you, you're going to get a powerful microscopic look at your soul. And then of course, after you submit that application, we will reach out to you when we have spots available and we will go all in together. And so without further ado, my friends, drop a comment if you have any questions. I will get back to you. The reason I make these videos is to give you guys that rocket launch that you need on your self-actualization journey. And so if you need help, drop a comment. I will get back to you. Like this video, it does something to the algorithm. Hit that subscribe button, hit that little notification bell so you know when my videos come out. Peace, much love, namaste, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.